Okay, welcome back to today's next money lesson. Today we're looking at real life purchases with and without change and what it's like to buy things in the real world and how we can sort out how much change we need. So the example we're looking at today is a TUCKSHOP menu. And we've all seen a TUCKSHOP menu before. We're lucky enough to have a TUCKSHOP at our school, and I know there's definitely people in our class that use the TUCKSHOP menu in their daily lives to sort out how much they need to buy things and how much change they will get back. So when we're buying something off the TUCKSHOP menu, there's a couple of things that we need to know about. We need to know the cost of an item, for example $2.50, what we paid with, for example a $5 note, and how much change we are going to receive. That's the question marks, that's what we want to know. How much change are we going to get back? So in our previous lesson, when we talked about change, we discussed how change is from the amount of an item and the difference in between to what we pay with. So for example, change is the difference in between buying something for $2.50 with a $5 note. Our change will be the difference in between. Alright, so looking at this first example, if we were wanting to buy a meat pie from the TUCKSHOP, and we can see up here that a meat pie costs $2.50, and we had a $5 note to pay with, how we would work out our change is to determine the difference in the middle here between buying a $2.50 meat pie and paying with a $5 note. And we want to know how much is in between those two amounts. So we know that just like in our last couple of lessons, we have to add up the difference in between. So we start on $2.50, we could jump up $1 to $3.50, jump up another $1 to $4.50. There we go, and then we are only not too far away from that $5 mark, only another 50 cents. So our change of buying a meat pie that costs $2.50 with a $5 note would be $2.50. That's what we would receive back. Alright, but sometimes when we go to the TUCKSHOP, we want to buy more than one thing because we might be a bit hungry. So today we're going to look at what it costs or how we add up if we want to buy more than one thing. So this example here, we're going to look at the cost to buy a jelly and a meat pie from the TUCKSHOP. So first we're going to look at the TUCKSHOP menu and figure out how much those things cost. Jelly is $1.35, we can see written there, and the meat pie is $2.50. So we need to sort out the cost of the item and by adding those two together. $2.50 for the meat pie plus $1.35 for the jelly. And we're going to pay with a $5 note again, and then we're going to figure out how much change we're going to get. So first of all, we have to sort out how much we need to pay for that jelly and that meat pie. So there's a couple of ways that we can figure out our total of the jelly and the meat pie. The first way we're going to look at is by simply adding these two amounts together. One strategy that we can do is to add the dollars first, so 2 here and 1 here, which would be how much? It would be $3. And then we might even use a different coloured pen to do the cents. So 50 cents plus 35 cents, if we added them together, that would be 85 cents. So our meat pie for $2.50 and our jelly for $1.35, we've got to add them together first, and we now know that they are going to cost $3.85 to buy together. Alright, so we know that the amount we are wanting to spend is $3.85. That's how much it's going to cost us for a jelly and a meat pie. Now we need to figure out the change. Remember again that the change is the difference in between the price that we are paying for something and the amount that we have paid with. So we want to buy something or two things for $3.85 and we're going to pay with a $5 note. We have to sort out the change which is in between these two amounts. Okay, so we have to sort the difference between $3.85 and $5. In our last lessons, we talked about how we jump up in even amounts. So for this one, for figuring out our change for this, I'm going to jump up in even amounts. Maybe just $1 is the easiest way to do it. So if I jump up $1, then I'm now at $4.85. I am pretty close to $5, but I'm not really there yet. I need to figure out how much more or how many more cents I need to get to $5. I could just count that in my hands. If I'm at $4.85, I could count up the cents. $4.86, $4.87, $4.88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, and then I know I will be at $5. So I added $1 here, and then I added some cents. I wonder if you know how much cents I added. I did a $1 jump to $4.85. Then I added another 15 cents to get to the $5 amount. So my total change in the middle is going to be $1 and 15 cents. That was the difference between $3.85 and $5, and that's going to be my change. Remember though, we looked at also counting backwards. So this is another example that we looked at, counting back from the amount that we pay with a $5 note, to the amount of the thing that we are buying. So just like we did before, instead of counting forwards, we can count backwards, jump back to $1 to the $4 mark. We could jump back another little jump because we're not far, another 15 cents to get to $3.85. So the same goes here as it did just before. We've jumped back for $1 and back for 15 cents from $4 to $3.85. So our total change amount is going to be $1 and 15 cents. And that was what we saw doing it the other way around. When we did it going this way, we had the same amount of change as when we did it the other way and counted backwards. Okay, let's take another look at another example as if we were buying off the TUCKSHOP menu. This time though, we are going to buy three things. We're going to buy a juice, an ice cream, and a jelly. So just like before, the first thing we have to do is look at how much those things cost. I'm going to look at the jelly, costs $1.35, the ice cream 40 cents, and the juice $3. So they're the three prices that I need to know first. And when I know what each of the three cost, I add them all together to find out how much money I'm going to need all up to buy those three things. And once I know how much the three of them cost together, that's when I can look in my pocket or to see where my money is, to see how much money I'm going to need to pay for these three things. But first I have to figure out the total of them. So just like we did before, we talked about getting these three amounts and figuring out how we can add the total to figure out how much all three of them together are going to cost. So just like last time, we can get all the dollars first. So 0, 1, $3, 3. If we added them all together, it would be 4. And then in a different colour, I'm going to add all the cents together. I've got 40 cents for the ice cream, 35 cents for the jelly, but no cents for the juice. So I just need to add these two together, the 40 cents and the 35 cents, and together they are going to equal 75 cents. So that is one quick way of figuring how much money I need for those three. I did the dollars first, 0, 1 and 3 to make 4, and then I did the cents, 40 cents, 35 cents and no cents, to know that my total was 75 cents. So for all three of these things, I need $4.75 to be able to pay for them. Another way to figure it out is by lining up each of those money amounts together and doing what is called an algorithm to add them up. So you can see I've lined up my ice cream price, my juice price, and my jelly price, and they are just sitting one under the other. And what we are going to do with these three is add them together. So I'm going to put an addition sign over to the side there because that makes it obvious that I'm adding. We start in this far column over here on the far right side, which is in our cents, and we add down the column to sort out how much is in each column. So we're going to add down this column first and find out how much that costs, then down this column, then this column. So let's start with the first column here. If we added all those amounts together, 0, 0 and 5, we would have 5 down here. Then we're going to look at our next cents column. Oops, we'll keep that there. And we will add down the column as well for this one. So 0, 4 and 3 is going to be a total of 7. Then we need to make sure that we put our dot point in as well. So I'll make sure you can see with the arrow. This dot point here is very important because they're breaking up the difference between our dollars and our cents. So we'll put our dot point in there in the middle with my green pen. There you go, I've put in my dot point. And now we just need to add the dollars amounts, which is down this column here. We need to add 3, 0 and 1, and that would tell us the total of 4. And of course, because we're working with money, I'm going to put the dollar sign as well. And there you go, we've added up those three amounts by laying them all out together, one on top of the other, and by adding one column at a time. And that has told us $4.75. And we can see that $4.75 was the exact same that we added up to doing it the other way, by doing the dollars first, then the cents. It is the same way as lining them up all together. So the first thing we did to figure out the total was we added the three prices together, the ice cream, the juice and the jelly, and that gave us the total of $4.75 once we added them all together. So now that we know that they're $4.75, we can choose some coins to help us pay for that amount. And imagining that these coins up in the top right corner was what I had in my pocket, I'd select $2 first, another dollar and another dollar. That gives us the $4, and we still need to make the 75 cents. So 50 plus another 20 is 70, and the 5 cents will add up to $4.75. So that could be one way we did it, but imagine we didn't have those coins and we just had a $5 note that we were going to use to pay for these three items. To figure out the change, we need to know the difference between the price, $4.75, and the amount that we're paying with, $5. And just like before, we would add the difference between here. We know that $4.75 is pretty close to $5. We don't have any dollars to really add. We just need to get from 75 cents to 100 cents to make that extra dollar. So we could count up from 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, and then we would be at $5. So we added, I wonder if you were counting with your fingers, an extra 25 cents to get from $4.75 up to $5. So the difference in between these two is 25 cents, and that's how much change we would get back. Okay, now it's going to be your turn to go and try some activities to figure out how you could use your money and change in real life situations. For example, if you were buying off a TUCKSHOP menu. So remember, when you're buying off a TUCKSHOP menu, the first thing you need to do is look at the price of the items that you want. If you're getting more than one, you can add them up by lining them up like this, one over the top of each other, and then adding each of the columns just like we did before. So you'd add down that column first, or down that column, don't forget the decimal point, and then adding the dollars. Or the other way that we did it was by simply doing the dollars first and then the cents. So we have to figure out the total first. Once we know the total, we need to know what money we're using to pay for things, and then by figuring out the difference, we can find how much change we will get. Alright guys, great work today. A big thumbs up for all your efforts. Well done. And off you go to try and practice some of your real life problems using money and with and without change.